Hello and welcome to another video on Gran Turismo Sport, where today we are down in the green hell, also known as Nürburgring Nordschleife. So you join us on our qualifying lap, and this is probably one of my least favourite experiences on Gran Turismo. So it's a very long lap, it's over 8 minutes long, and if you make a mistake, like you will see here, towards the end of the lap, you've lost a good seven minutes here. And if you do that a couple of times in a row, you can quite quickly end up having played the game for 40 minutes and not even setting a lap. So we've stuck with our 8 minute 14, which has put us in 11th place for our first race. It's not the best lap. We probably could go about 4 or 5 seconds faster, but it was just getting too frustrating, crashing when you're pushing right towards the end of the lap and just wasting time basically. So we've decided to go as we get overtaken around the outside of turn 1. Very awkward corner. The normal layout of the Grand Prix circuit is much better than the 24 hours there with turn 1. It's very awkward, very slow, and very easy to spin the wheels up coming out of turn 2. So as we're side by side coming down the hill, and 2 cars there with penalties, so we move up into 9th place. So we've made a little bit of progress since the start of the race, and we're going to see how far we can go. We're driving in the Toyota Supra today, which is the fastest car according to the leaderboards, but it's very twitchy towards the back end, so it's going to be difficult on this part of the track as we enter onto the Nordschleife part. Running in 9th place behind the yellow Corvette up ahead, as you can see the back end wanting to step out, and that's going to happen quite a lot during this race, I can imagine. So it's really going to be a test of concentration and seeing if we can remain focused for the full 20 minutes or so that this race will take. As you can see up ahead, P7 has run off the track, but he's managed to bring it back on quite quickly there. So there's also a very long straight, so he shouldn't be too affected by having dirty tyres, as they've had a chance to clean up a little bit for the length of that straight. So as we get very close up the back of him, around the right-hander, the long right-hander, he pulls away down the hill. So we haven't been able to make a move there, but we'll try and stick onto the back of him as best we can. So across the line then to complete lap 2, you can see the cars ahead pulled away just by a second and a half or so as they make contact into turn 1, and we run deep as well, but just avoiding contact with P7 there, who picks up a 2-second penalty. So the penalty line is just coming up, and we are going to make that move, take that position back. So we are now up into 7th place, still behind the yellow Corvette up ahead, as we head on to the Nordschleife part of the circuit for the second time. And you can see over the first part of the lap I've managed to close up to the back of P6. So as we come onto this long back section, it's flat out, very fast, we're going to get right into his slipstream, and he moves to the left, so he gives us space. So there's some very good driving there from Supra Fast Bobby, giving us room to pass there. A lot of drivers will kind of put it in the middle of the track, myself included most of the time, and the car behind hasn't got a chance to get past. So some very clean racing from that driver there. And then you'll see here, coming down into the right-hander, we just clip the outside of the track. So exactly the same position that we lost the car on our qualifying lap, and yeah, we've binned it. And to make matters worse, with the dirty tyres, we've run wide twice in a row. This car really, the Supra really doesn't like being on dirty tyres, and to add another spanner to the works, we get a 1.5-second penalty. So we finish in 10th, but drop down to 13th because of the penalty. So on to our second race then, and we've dropped down into an ASR rated lobby, but at least we're starting in P2, so we should be able to get a decent result here as we head down into turn 1. Again, keeping it nice and slow, very, very smooth on the throttle on the exit to make sure we don't spin up the wheels too much. And it was a very uneventful race, and as you can see, we crossed the line to finish in second place, about 3.5 seconds behind King Russ 333. On to the next race then, and once again we are in a slightly lower rated lobby. It is an S rated SR lobby, but we're still not quite in top split. So we are starting P2 again behind King Russ, and once again getting through turn 1 without any dramas, accelerating out smoothly and keeping that P2 through turn 1. So onto the Nordschleife then, and you can see I'm running close behind King Russ, but the car behind has just given me a little tap, so I've gone deep, running a little bit wide, and P3 in the Corvette has managed to move up into second place. So we are down into third. It's very difficult to make clean moves here, so I think that was a good move from that driver. As first position crashes out of the race, so we are now promoted into second place, and seeing if we can try to close down on P1, but then he makes a mistake as well, so we take the lead of the race. He manages to get back on the track, and he hasn't lost too much time. So crucially for him, he's managed to get back on. He hasn't lost too much time, and we are heading onto the back straight now, where he is in the Corvette. So he's going to make a lot of time over the back straight, and you can see as we've headed on to the start-finish straight, he gets the run on me down into turn 1 and makes that move stick. We try to run it around the outside but get forced wide, and then the car behind us gets the switchback and manages to move up into second place. So once again we have been demoted down into third place, which is a bit frustrating, but we are all very close together, and the race still has a full lap of the Nordschleife left, so anything can happen as we follow the Mercedes-Benz here. So on to the back straight of the GP circuit, and we've managed to get the run on the Mercedes, heading up to the chicane, which is quite a nice variation of the chicane actually. Turn 1 and turn 2 are awful on this layout, but the chicane is nice. I'd like to do the GP circuit, that chicane. Yeah, it's very fast. It's nice to drive through. So P1 again making a bit of an error, and we have been promoted up into first place. So this could be our opportunity to take a victory on the track known as the Green Hell. However, as we head down into this corner here, we've gone in too deep. We get 2 wheels on the curb, but that is enough to send this Supra around, and unfortunately we are down into 5th place, and such a shame, because we were on for a good result there, but never mind. We will head on to another race and give it another go, and we're going to swap cars. So for the next race we have jumped into the Corvette. It seems like quite a popular choice here, and from what I've seen, drivers who have put a couple of wheels onto the grass seem to have recovered quite well in the Corvette, so that is why we are giving it a go. Also back into top split for this daily race again, so it will be a competitive race with some very good drivers. First thing to note, I noticed about the Corvette is it sounds fantastic. You do have to short shift a little bit though to make the most out of it, which is something that you need to get used to. So we've gone for a move around the outside of turn 1 and then keeping it tight into the apex on turn 2 there, and it's come off quite nicely. So we've already made a position, and we are up to 9th place in this race, following behind silver Marvel themed Mercedes. It's always quite good on a track like this to pick a livery that is a bit distracting to the driver behind. You know, if you can do anything to coax them into a mistake, it will definitely help. So as the car ahead just gives the barrier a little love tap, but gets away with it, and we follow him through without any dramas ourselves. So the key to hooking up a good lap here is just trying to be as smooth and flowing as you can through the twisty sections, not being on the throttle too much. You can see, especially through this part here, if you watch the throttle trace, you can see you're coasting through quite a bit of it, and then just opening up throttle once you get the car facing where you want it to be. You also need to make sure you're getting a very good exit out of any of the corners that lead onto one of the very long straights. If you mess up one of those, you're going to be losing time the whole way down the straight. As you can see, one of the cars up ahead has gone very, very wide. Unfortunately, a space opens up just big enough for us to fit through, and the car right behind us now, also manages to make it through as well. So we're still in 8th place though, and probably about 3/4 of the lap left as we head up into this uphill twisty section. One of my favourite parts of the track actually. It feels very, very good when you get it right through there. And 6th place there, off the track. So we have moved up into 7th place now. Another victim of the Nürburgring bites the dust. So still a lap and a half to go then. And can we move further up in the field in this race as we head into the corkscrew for the first time. And you can see the Mercedes up ahead has gone in a little bit too high, and you lose a lot of time through there if you end up too high on the banking. You have to be very cautious and take it a little bit slower, take it easier than you think, and you'll actually gain time as we head into the roller coaster type section now. Another great part of the track, but one that I am still learning really. I always lose a little bit of time through this back section. As you can see here, we jump in further around the end of the lap, and I've lost a little bit of time to the car in front. But up ahead, another car has ended off the track, and where is he going to rejoin? He keeps it to the left, and we move through. So we are now up into 6th place, and it's looking like we could get a good result here. We just need to make sure we keep it on the track. The Corvette is feeling a lot more stable than the Supra was throughout the Nordschleife part of the track, so hopefully we can keep it on the track and get round in one piece on the next lap. So we're on to the back straight then, side by side with the car behind, but fortunately we are on the left hand side of the track, so he thinks better of it, and we keep that place as we go down into the final corners of the lap. And P5 up ahead in the Mercedes is getting all kinds of internet connection problems, so very, very distracting when you see that out of the corner of your eye, and he eventually loses connection altogether. So we have been promoted up into 5th place as a result, as we head onto the Nordschleife part of the track for the final lap. And you know, 5th place in the top split, when at the start of the week we had never even driven the track. Well, we'd driven it maybe on Gran Turismo 3 on the controller back in the day, but that is pretty much it. As P4 up ahead now crashes into the barrier, so we have been promoted up into 4th place, which would be a great result if we can hold on until the end of the race. But of course, as we have found out several times before, it's not as simple as that, and there is always going to be some late drama. And as we come through this fast section here, we get the car a little bit unsettled, lose a bit of time, and the car behind ends up tapping the back of us and spinning off into the barrier. So a close call there, but we managed to survive. Just a couple of corners left and a very long straight, and coming through the final 2 turns then, keeping it nice and tidy on the exit, and we come across the line to secure a 4th place. So very pleased with that result, and eventually we finish with a good race. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like, please subscribe, and I will put a link in the description for my guide on how to learn the Nürburgring circuit.